So you're trying to file your tax return and you get a reject code. Or maybe you paper file your return and you get a letter from the IRS. In either instance, you've been notified that someone claimed you're dependent on their tax return, and now you can't. Or can you? Welcome to Tax Chit Chat, the place where we talk all things tax, all the time. How claiming a dependent works. When it comes to filing taxes, it's important to know that a dependent can be listed only on one tax return, meaning that they can't be listed on two parents' tax returns, or if they're in college and filing their own tax return, they can't forget to check the box that someone else can claim them as a dependent. Now, the tax return that the dependent is listed on gets to claim the associated deductions and credits. So whichever return is filed first with the dependent is the one that wins, so to speak. And this is where the issues often arise. Where issues arise. There are generally three instances when dependents being claimed by someone else tend to come up. First, when divorced or separated parents don't coordinate who is claiming a dependent, like when they take turns claiming a dependent every other year or so. Next, when two parents are at odds. I think that pretty much says it all, right? Lastly, when one parent intentionally files early so that they block the other parent from claiming the dependent. And I've seen this one done to single parents who are genuinely entitled to claim the dependent, say like because the kid lives with them all of the time. So how do you resolve it? If you're genuinely entitled to claim a dependent, don't worry, all hope is not lost. You're just going to have to perform a few steps that you normally wouldn't have to take when filing a tax return. First, complete the return like you normally would, and this includes filing as head of household if that's how you intended to file. Next, list your dependent or dependents and claim any associated deductions or credits. These include things like the non-refundable child tax credit, the credit for other dependents, the refundable child tax credit, the additional child tax credit, the credit for child and dependent care expenses, as well as the earned income credit. Try saying that 3 times fast. Lastly, mail the return to the IRS so that they can apply the tiebreaker rules, but don't do this before you watch our bonus tip, which is coming up next. Now, just so you know, this is how the tiebreaker rules work. If only one of the people claiming the child is the child's parent, the child is treated as the qualifying child of the parent. If the parents don't file a joint return together, but both parents claim the child as a qualifying child, the IRS will treat the child as the qualifying child of the parent with whom the child lived the longer period of time during the year. And if the child lived with each parent for the same amount of time, then the IRS will treat the child as the qualifying child of the parent who had the higher adjusted gross income, or AGI, for the year. And if no parent can claim the child as the qualifying child because like the kid's living with like granny or some other relative, then the child is treated as the qualifying child of the person who had the highest AGI for the year. Now, what about that bonus tip I mentioned in the beginning? Our secret pro bonus tip. Since you're going to have to mail the return to the IRS anyway, you might as well give them as much support and ammunition as possible to prove that you were entitled to claim the dependent, right? Well, we recommend downloading IRS Form 866H-DEP, Supporting Documents for Dependents. This document tells you, based on your situation, what you can send to the IRS to prove that the person was your dependent. So gather these documents, write a letter to accompany your tax return that explains why the dependent should be granted to you, like they live with you for all the year, or like you are the custodial parent, or how you provide more than 50% of their support. You then attach this letter and the supporting documents behind your tax return so the IRS can consider the information. And at the end of the investigation, guess what? The IRS will notify you and the other person whom the dependent will be granted to. And if the other person was a shiesty parent who got a big fat refund by beating you to file, guess what? They'll have to pay it all back. Man, revenge is sweet. Okay, I probably shouldn't be saying that as a professional, right? Now, since you're gonna have to mail your return to the IRS, we recommend watching this video so that you do it the correct way. And until we meet again, always remember, keep earning, keep learning, and just like that, this chat is adjourned.